So in the previous video, we watched Emmanuel climb from nothing to everything, mansions and a dream life. But he also saw the fatal mistake. He gave his wife complete control over every single penny he ever earned. Now here's what you need to understand. That wasn't just a bad decision, it was a legal time bomb. And in 2017, that time bomb exploded and took everything with it. This is part 2, the fall, and the lesson that could save your entire financial future. Let's get into it. 2017, after years of marriage, things between Emmanuel and Aurelie completely fell apart. The relationship was done, finished. They filed for divorce. And that's when Emmanuel's entire world collapsed in ways he never saw coming. Because here's the thing about divorce. When you go to court, they don't care about who works harder or who suffered more. They care about one thing: legal ownership. What the documents say, what you signed. And Emmanuel, oh God, Emmanuel has signed everything bad. The divorce proceedings began and Emmanuel thought he'd be fine. He earned the money, right? He was the footballer, the star, the one on the pitch getting tackled and scoring goals. Surely the courts would see that. But that's not how it works, people. Because when the settlement came down, the judge made the decision. Every single asset Emmanuel owned in the United Kingdom would go to his wife. Let's say that again. Every single asset. His mansion in Enfield, gone. The house he bought with his own sweat and blood. The house where he raised his children. Gone. The expensive Range Rover, gone. The sleek BMW, gone. Both cars driven away, just like that. His savings account, the money he thought he would last him the rest of his life, gone. Emptied. All of it went to her. Emmanuel, a man who once earned more than $2 million per year, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, was now completely and utterly homeless. But here where the story gets even darker. Because losing the money was one thing, losing his dignity was something else entirely. In a heartbreaking interview that went viral across the internet, Emmanuel opened up about just how bad things had gotten. And boy, was this rough. This is a man at his absolute lowest point. She took my house, he said, his voice cracking with emotion. It's my money, the money I suffered on the pitch to get, to make my family happy. And now it's all gone. But it wasn't just about the houses or the cars. Emmanuel revealed something that shocked everyone. He was living in hiding, actually hiding from the world in shame, broken and afraid. He was washing his clothes by hand in a bucket because he couldn't afford a washing machine. Think about that for a second. This is a man who once spent thousands of pounds in a single shopping trip. And now, he's hand washing his own clothes because he has nothing. And then Emmanuel said something that made the entire world stop. I wanted to kill myself. I had nothing left. Let that sink in. This is a star, a Champions League finalist, an Arsenal legend. A man who was shared by thousands of fans every single week. A man who had everything. He's not contemplating ending his own life because he lost it all. Damn. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about a man's entire identity being destroyed. His purpose, his reason for living, everything gone. And here's what makes this even more tragic. Emmanuel didn't understand how it happened. He kept asking himself the same question over and over. How did she take everything? How is that even legal? That's the question everyone was asking. How does a wife just take a man's entire fortune in a divorce? What kind of laws allow that to happen? And that's where we need to talk about that signature, the document, the one piece of paper that made all of these possible. Because there was one specific moment, one specific decision, one signature that destroyed Emmanuel's entire life. And if you don't know what it is, you could make the same mistake. Remember when Emmanuel gave his wife complete control over his finances? Well, it wasn't just a handshake agreement or a verbal promise between husband and wife. It was legal, documented, and it was signed. Emmanuel signed something called the power of attorney. Now, if you don't know what that is, pay very close attention because this could save your life one day. The power of attorney is a legal document that gives someone else the authority to make decisions on your behalf, to access your bank accounts, to buy and sell properties in your name, to control your money like it's their own money. It's one of the most powerful documents you can ever sign, and Emmanuel signed it without reading a single word. But it gets even worse, because the power of attorney wasn't the only thing he signed. Emmanuel also signed joint account agreements. That means his wife wasn't just managing the money, she was the legal co-owner of the accounts. In the eyes of the law, the money belonged to both of them equally, whether she put anything or not. He signed property deeds that put both their names on the houses. So when the divorce happened, the court didn't see it as Emmanuel's house that he bought with his own money. They saw it as a jointly owned property, meaning she had every legal right to take it. He signed contract after contract after contract, and he will never once ask any lawyer to explain what any of it meant. He just trusted, signed, and moved on. Why would you do that? Why would someone sign complete control of $20 million without even reading the documents? Here's what Emmanuel said in an interview that explains everything. I gave my wife power over everything, and now I'm left with nothing. He trusted her. She was his wife, the mother of his children, his partner. Why would he need to question her? Why would he need lawyers or accountants double checking everything? Because love and trust don't protect you in a courtroom. Documents do. Signatures do. Legal ownership does. And when the divorce happened, those signatures that Emmanuel barely remembers signing became the most important pieces of paper in his entire life. The court looked at the power of attorney, they looked at the joint accounts, they looked at the property deeds, and they made their ruling based on what the document said. In the eyes of the law, Emmanuel's wife wasn't stealing from him. She was taking what those documents said she had legal right to. She was a co-owner, a co-signer, and a legal partner in everything he owned. One signed document, one decision to trust without verifying, and Emmanuel Eboué lost $20 million. Here's the lesson Emmanuel learned the hard way. And it's a lesson every one of us needs to know. There's a famous saying that goes like this: trust is good, control is better. You can't trust someone with your entire heart. You can love them. You can believe they would never hurt you, but you should never ever give anyone complete, unchecked control over your money, no matter how they are. Not your wife, not your husband, not your parents, not your best friend. Nobody. Because people change, relationship ends, and when they do, the only thing that protects you is what's written on paper. Emmanuel admits now that he should have done things differently. He should have educated himself about money, should have hired independent financial advisors who worked for him, not for both of them. He should have read every single document before putting his signature on it. But he didn't. And once the signature destroyed a $20 million fortune built over 15 years of professional football. And now here's where most stories would end. The guy loses everything, hits rock bottom, the end. But Emmanuel's story is different. Does it end there? Because after losing everything in the UK, Emmanuel did something that saved his life. He went back home to Ivory Coast, to Abidjan, back to where it all started. Remember, he bought a property for $1.5 million? The house he bought to stay connected to his roots? Well, the UK courts couldn't touch it. That property was registered in Ivory Coast, a completely different country with a completely different legal system. And that became his lifeline. He remembered where he came from, and slowly, painfully, he started to rebuild. But something else happened that Emmanuel never expected. His story went public and the world found out what happened to him. The football community stepped up in a big way. His former teammates at Arsenal, guys like Henry and Patrick, reached out to him. They offered support and financial help, and even emotional support. They reminded Emmanuel that he wasn't alone. The Arsenal family rallied around one of their own, and that support gave Emmanuel something he thought he'd lost forever: hope. But Emmanuel didn't just want help for himself. He realized something important. His pain, his mistakes, his tragic story, it all had a purpose. It could help other people avoid the same fate. So Emmanuel made his decision. He's going to turn his pain into purpose so that he could educate someone else. Today, Emmanuel spends his time mentoring young African footballers, kids who were just like him when he was young, talented, hungry, and dreaming of making it to Europe and earning life-changing money. It teaches them about football, sure, but more importantly, it teaches them about money, about financial literacy, about the dangers of blind trust, about reading every document before you sign it. He wants young players and young people about giving anyone complete control over their finances. He tells them to hire independent advisors, to ask questions, to never sign anything they don't fully understand. And you know what? That message isn't for one specific person. It's for everyone. Anyone who comes into sudden wealth, anyone who gets a big promotion, anyone who starts a business, anyone who earns money needs to understand how to protect it. Because Emmanuel is now helping an entire generation of athletes avoid the same mistakes he made. He's saving people from homelessness, from depression, from suicide. And that impact is what more than $20 million could ever be. So, what did you learn from Emmanuel's story? Number one, Financial literacy is very important and not optional. Lesson number two, never give anyone complete control over anything. You can trust them, but never give them a loaded gun. Lesson number three, read every single document you sign. Do not miss anyone. Lesson number four, plan for the future because careers don't last forever. Lesson number five, protect yourself legally. A prenuptial agreement could have stopped everything. If this story taught you something, if it opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe.